Okay, this is a great question. Every year I do my best. The biggest expense every household in America has. By the way, I just want to say you do an awesome interview, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
You have almost the perfect kind of balance between being the host. You know, like a lot of time guys just like they ask a question and then you just do a great job, man.
My ducks, my swans, welcome to the pond.
Really?
Yeah, it was for artists because I was in LA and I said, man, none of these people know how to sell. They don't know how to market their products. They think they're actors and directors and writers. I'm like, you guys, if you can't sell your idea, you're not a writer and actor, or you're just an idea person.
Yep.
And all of LA is just trapped in these concepts. I'm like, you got to get your concept out, and then you got to get somebody to eat it.
Bro, don't get me started on LA. I lived there for 4 years. I couldn't deal with that shit. I couldn't do it.
Garbage dump, bro. Garbage dump. And it's not the city, it's the people.
There you go. Exactly. City's great. And then the locals, they're great too. It's the transplants that come in and fucked everything up.
I got an idea.
Yeah.
I got an idea.
So,
dude, I was in LA. I lived there for 15 years. Went back. There's a guy there. What's the cat's name? Starts with a D. Anyway, he's a director kind of guy. He's produced a bunch of movies, supposedly. You know what I'm talking about. And I think he did one thing with one guy, and now that's been his claim for 35 years. And I left there 8 years ago, came back. This cat had coffee with him, picked up the story where it left off 8 years before. It was the same bullshit story, man. I'm working on this thing. I'm like, bro, wait a minute. God damn, I heard this before.
It's that developmental hell. Like they just don't get out of that bubble in any way, shape, or form. Like, have my idea, got to be like this no matter what.
Oh, yeah.
So crazy.
Well, thanks for having me today, man. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. What's the worst job that you've ever had?
God, man, a lot of jobs I had that were bad. I was fired from 7 jobs. And you know what really made the jobs bad is I was bad. I mean, let's keep it real. But probably the most painful job I ever had was early in my career. I was 31 years old. I was going around the country. In fact, I would come to Indianapolis once a year. And I was calling on car dealers. I was trying to sell car dealers. You know, car dealers, man, they don't trust anybody. Yeah, and you know why they don't trust anybody?
Why is that?
Because they're not trustworthy. Okay, everybody that's worried about being ripped off did some ripping off.
Yep.
Anyway, I was calling on these, $1 million car dealers, the Rohrman Group right there in town, and all these big car dealers. Not all of them are like that, but man, most of these guys, they just tough, man. I remember people, hey, yeah, I'll see you, Grant. I'd go cold calling these guys, and I'd walk in, Dorian, can you give me like 5 minutes? Yeah, man, I'll give you 5 minutes. Just wait out there in the lobby. I had people let me wait for 2 and 3 hours in the lobby, only to come out 3 hours later and say, can't see you today. One guy let me into his meeting. Come on in, man. You can talk to my guys. I started talking. I had this whole presentation. I'm in 20 seconds. Time out. We're good. See you later.
Damn.
I did that for 3.5 years. I did 200 presentations a year, 200 days a year on the road. I would do thousands of presentations in a year, and 90% of them were, you're good, we're good, out of here.
And was this commission based or was it salary?
No, dude, I was doing this for free. I was doing auditions. My wife's an actress, and I know you're an artist. And one day my wife, we were in LA, she comes home crying from an audition. It was terrible. Oh my God, they hated me. I said, hey, shut up. She's like, you don't understand. You're so hard. You don't know what it's like to be an artist. I said, no, I don't know what it's like to be invited to an audition. Every audition I did, I forced my way into a room and sat people down and said, listen to some bullshit. Like if I could do anything else other than be business, I'd be a rapper, or I'd be a comedian, man. Because you got to go do a stage, right? You got to capture attention. You got to keep attention in the arts. You got to capture it, keep it, and then you got to figure out how to multiply it So people are going home saying, man, I saw this show tonight. It was sick. You got to see this guy. And that's what most artists don't know how to do. They don't know how to multiply the attention man. So the worst job I ever had to do was that cold calling job.
And I think that's the era that we're in right now with with the marketing, content marketing. I think it's what you just said, which is how I kind of came across you. Is like you were posting so much shit and you were everywhere. It's like, bro, I gotta listen to what he got to say. The same thing that rappers and actresses and everybody else should be doing right now too.
Yeah. And what happens is they try to become this one thing rather than be in a lot of things. Because I don't know what you're interested in today, right? When I'm trying to get an audience, I grew up when I grew up in the 50s. And so back then, when you were doing a business, you would target market. You would focus on a market. And if you were a plumber, you lived in the 213, you'd focus on the 213 and only spend money on the 213. Today, dude, we're global. If I could get somebody in Taipei to know my name, which I've done, or Mexico City or Bogota, if I can get somebody in Bogota to mention my name, I know for sure I can get business out of Indiana.
Yep.
And so now I have to hit a lot of different things, right? I gotta be like you've seen me do rapper videos.
Yep.
Okay. I've done the watches. Hey man, you guys are out buying the big cars. You're out buying the Cullinans, putting on the Paddocks, but you just pretended, man. You're not ready for that game. Quit getting them bracelets and start getting them assets.
That ass.
Right?
Yep.
And so what I'm trying to do is punch through to the rapper and the ball player. But I know that a whole bunch of people that watch ball players and rappers are listening to that message. And so that's how you build audience today, not just straight with your product, your garden hose, and say, hey, you want to buy this? Very few people want a garden hose.
So
you got to go really much broader today.
Yeah, I agree. So when you were coming up, let's say it's the 90s, and let's say that you had the tools today and you were trying to go from 0 to 100,000, what would you do today that's at your disposal that you think everybody else should be doing if they're trying to get their first six-figure paycheck?
So I wouldn't worry about the first 100, man. Like first thing I would do is change the targets. Everything changed. Biggest single mistake I've made in my life. I woke up yesterday morning saying this. Oh my God, I thought so little of myself. Biggest single mistake I've made in my entire career was thinking too small. And I've been around some heavy hitters, man. They all say the same thing. If I only knew what I could do. And so my encouragement to everybody out there is the first thing, just drop that 100 grand, or you know what, keep the 100 and add 3 more zeros and make it 100 million. Because if you can do 100,000, you can do 100 million. Go for the top of the food chain, not the middle of it. There's less people there. And you just gotta figure out, hey man, I want to sell 100 million copies of something. Who's done it? Michael did it. Chappelle did it. Kevin Hart did it. Lionel Richie did it. What did they do? How many people did they reach? How many countries were they in? What was their pricing? What was their products? What was their inventory? What mistakes did they make? Who did they have on their team? Like all you got to do is emulate rather than the $100,000, because $100,000 is no money.
Nope.
You get 100 grand, you're just going to find out you broke again. You're probably going to go into depression. You get $1 million, you're going to be like, shit, man, I hate this. This game's no fun. How many artists have you heard say that? Man, I got $1 million, man. And then the gas is out of them. So the target, number one, the target's too small. Number two, I would get around people, man, that have done it already and leave everybody else alone. If I had to go carry their bags or bring them water, serve them, wash their feet, let me get in a room with somebody that's walked through gold, and it'll wear off on me. Kim Kardashian, a lot of people forget that Kim Kardashian worked for Paris Hilton.
Yep, sure did.
Yeah, so all that bullshit about a job is just over broke, looks like she's turned it into something like just over billionaire.
Yeah, absolutely, and put her whole family on too. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I've been talking to a lot of my homeboys that are in the NBA or, our agents or whatnot, and everybody's trying to get into real estate. When they talk to me, they got millions and millions, and I got other people, they're working at a job that pays them 50 racks a year. They're trying to get into real estate. And I see that you kind of started something that can help both the 100 million and somebody who has $1,000. What do you got going on? Are you trying to buy all of South Florida? Like, what you doing right now?
Well, look, I mean, I got a plan. The plan, you know, what I just shared with you. I've been buying real estate for 30 years, since I was 31 years old. Started a business, had my first business, the one I was telling you about earlier. Started working, started making some money. Anytime I got that money, all I did was take the money and buy some real estate. I kept getting rid of money. Money's garbage. It's garbage. It's not really what you want because it gets taxed heavily. So, and this is another thing, the ball players don't understand this. Most of the middle class doesn't understand it. The guy making 50 racks a year doesn't. The guy making 500 racks a year doesn't understand it. The guy working at Facebook doesn't understand. He knows how to code. He don't know how to beat the tax man. And the way to beat the tax man is with real estate. It is the last venue where, and I'm not talking about a house. I'm talking about buying, like this piece of real estate right behind me right there. That piece of real estate is $260 million. Now, I didn't start with that. My first deal was a $3 million deal. I made $5 million on it. One deal. And paid no taxes. And when I did that first deal, man, I put 350 grand down. I borrowed it from my mom and a brother. And I turned 350 grand into $5 million and didn't have to go through the bullshit that I was going through every single day. And I'm like, oh my God, this is a game, man. When I went to file my taxes, the guy showed me how not to pay taxes on it. I'm like, okay, I'm good. And I've been doing that. I now have $4 billion worth of real estate. I started with 300 grand, borrowed money. I got $4 billion. This deal right here is $250 million. And what I've learned over the last 25 years is this game is it's a rigged game and it's on stacked. It's all stacked against the little guy and the middle guy. And so what I decided to do was I promised my mom when I was 15 years old, Dorian, I said, if I ever make it, I'm gonna help the little guy out. Because I grew up with a single mother, 5 kids. She was freaking frightened all that. She never got a shot at that stuff. Mm-hmm. You know, if my family got to buy a house that you got to pay for, if we could buy a house and pay it off, that was freaking like, that was the American dream. That ain't a dream, bro. That's prison. That right there behind me, cash flow day one, trophy asset, appreciation 2 and 3 and 4 times. Most of this real estate's been doubling every decade. Trophy, institutional quality, great write-offs. Everything the wealthy look for in an investment. So I'm buying this deal and then I open it up to my friends and followers on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. $1,000, with $1,000, you can partner with me in that deal. And it's important for everybody to know, like, oh my God, this guy's going to raise money from everybody. I could have gotten one company, one bank would have given me the entire amount of money that I'm raising for my friends. One bank said, hey, I'll give you I'll give you all the money for the deal. And you be the partner in the deal, Grant, you run the deal, we'll be the money. And I didn't take the money because I want my friends, my followers, the people on this, I want to give people a shot. So because you're easier to deal with, Dorian, I'd rather you be my partner in the deal than Bank of America.
Yeah, exactly. Because they're full of shit, as we see with the whole DeFi, everything popping up right now. Banks might be in serious trouble.
The banks are the true, banks in Wall Street. If anybody studies the financial game enough, you'll understand that you work, get money, take money, bring it to bank. Bank calls me and says, would you like a loan?
Yep.
So you guys that are out there saving money right now, you got a checking account, a money market, you got a retirement account, you're putting a little bit of money in an ETF or a mutual fund in Wall Street. You guys need to understand this. As soon as you give that white man your money, and they're all white.
Yep.
They call me up on the phone and say, can we lend you some money, man? You understand your money is funding my deals right now anyway. You're just not a partner. Like, let that sink in. Let that breathe a little bit. The money that you put in the bank, that you worked your ass off to get, then run off to the bank to put it there because now it's safe. They call me up, Mr. Cardone, Dorian, dumbass Dorian came over here and dropped off a bag. Would you like to borrow it for that building you're buying? And that's the game, man. And so what I'm doing is I'm gonna flip the game. I'm gonna use my audience of middle class, lower class, hustlers on the come up, people that are raw and real, and they can recognize something that's raw and real and say $1,000, $5,000, $10,000. I'm gonna get millions of people in on these deals, millions. I'm gonna fund a bunch of these deals like this, kick Wall Street out, put together a massive portfolio. It's not gonna be 4 billion, it's gonna be 40 billion. I'll become one of the biggest landowners, apartment owners in the country, and you guys will be my partners. We're gonna put together the whole package, and then I'm gonna go back to Wall Street and sell the whole thing to them and choke them.
I'm just thinking about when I was 24 and I was a bouncer at a nightclub called Cloud 9 on the west side of Indianapolis. And, you know, just to give you kind of insight on Indianapolis street politics a little bit, far west and far east where they pushed everybody. So anytime that they came together, it was chaos. And I'm in the middle of it trying to break everybody up, whoop-de-whoop. And at the time, man, I'm making $50 a night. You know, I'm lucky if I get $1,000 every 2 weeks. If I'm somebody that's in that position right now, what's the benefits of putting my money into this fund? I know you talked about tax breaks, but what can I expect from a tax breaks and then a return?
Yeah, number one, you get passive income. It's the easiest, fastest way to get passive income. Number two, you become an investor immediately. What you become is what you will be. Most people are sitting in the student chair too long. You're learning. You like learning, studying, reading, you know, trying to get information. Dude, the way to trick the system is to become something as fast as possible. Don't keep learning. Buy something. This is the easiest, simplest way for somebody to become an investor. I did the deal. I bought the deal with my money, did the research with my money, my time, my energy, my 30 years. I used my cred with the banks and the real estate community to get the deal. That deal is $260 million. Your entire audience could not buy that deal by itself, even if it had the money, because it doesn't have the connection.
Yep.
So I'm buying the deal with my money and my debt. Then once I buy it and close it, I've taken all this risk out, because once I buy it and close it, then I offer it up to my audience and say, same price that I paid, you can get in at $1,000, $5,000, $10,000, whatever number you're comfortable with. So what happens is, one, your money's protected against inflation and deflation, okay, against the disruption and destruction of the dollar, which is what's happening right now. Is they are purposely destroying the dollar, the very thing they told you for the last 30 years you should save and you should trade your most valuable asset for. They are now destroying the very thing that you've been saving, and they're penalizing you for having it because they pay you nothing to keep it. Understand that $1,000, and I'm going to answer your whole question here. Understand that $1,000 today at Bank of America or Wells Fargo, let me see, $1,000 today times pays $1.20.
That's bullshit.
Let me see. Yeah, that's $1.20 anyway.
Ridiculous. Crazy.
Okay. Now, that's before you bought your checks. That's before you started the checking account. That's before you used the ATM. By the time the end of the year is, your $1,000 probably more like $920. Probably cost you $80 just to have a checking account. So number one, you become an investor. Number two, you get cash flow every quarter. Number three, I expect that building to be a double or a triple. So I'm paying $260 for the building. If I sell it for $340, we make a double. I think the building's going to sell for $500 million when I sell it. The location's ridiculous. Can't replace it. It's 99% occupied right now. It's a trophy quality asset. It's in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, one of the hottest markets in the country. And when I sell this, I will be selling it to an institution. And the reason that's important is because most of us that are earning $50 a night, you have to buy the leftovers, man. You know, we're buying leftovers. We're buying the garbage in the community, the duplex, the single family home. These are the same homes that went back to the banks in 2010. And you don't want to be in that stuff. What you want to be is the trophy stuff that somebody always finds value in.
Yep.
So I think the return is 5 to 6% in the first year, paid out quarterly. We pass through the depreciation to you, so you won't be paying taxes for the first couple of years on your income. I think you get a double or a triple off your money. So if you put in 10 grand, I think you're looking at your money being 20 or 30,000 over the next 5, 6, 7 years.
That's awesome, man. And I'm glad that you said something about the dollar and like where everything's going. I've been telling people that a recession is on the horizon. Obviously, you got a lot more experience in this than I do, but the way everything's going, it seems like they're inflating everything just so they can take it out from under us and then take our money again. So do you think that this is a great way for people to protect their assets when this recession is coming up?
You know, Jack Dorsey at Twitter tweeted the other day that hyperinflation was on its way and it would change the world. If inflation's coming, most people actually don't even understand what it is because most people are too young. If inflation hits, the only asset class you want to be in is that right there.
Really? Why is that?
Because everything, cement, glass, wood flooring, real property inflates, it goes up, right? Inflation actually drives the price of real property up. I don't personally think that we're going to go into hyperinflation because it would bankrupt the United States of America. But if it came, it would actually benefit that building. That building will become worth 500 million faster than it would without it. If the building's worth 500 million, and I think it will be, I think that's a $500 million building. I'm buying that building knowing that I may never sell that building. So when it goes up in value, what happens is the debt will stay here and the building goes up in value, right? As it goes up in value, 5 years from now, I'll go back to the lenders and say, hey, I want to borrow against this number now. And then they're going to give me a little more debt. I'm going to take the money, send all our investors back their cash. The tax event will be zero. And we still own an inflated product that cash flows. So the investors will be able to keep the asset that went up in value. The debt will stay in one place. And this is good debt. This is not bad debt. This is not like car debt or Gucci debt or MasterCard debt, right? So this is going up in value. So I want inflation. I want rent increases. I want wages to go up. I want homes in the neighborhood to go up. The homes in this neighborhood are $2 and $3 million. The rent at that place is $2,300. So $3 million a year, if you're gonna buy a house, if inflation hits that house is worth $5 million now. That rent's gonna go up from $2,300 to $5,000. This is a cash flow game, man. This is a monopoly right here. This is how everybody gets rich. Okay, all of Wall Street's gotten rich like this, and this is how true wealth is created with real assets.
Damn, that's crazy, man. So just so I can break it down for the audience a little bit, buy it for low. It's going to go up. We're going to borrow against that. Now you have all that equity. So with that equity, do you plan on expanding to other cities and keep doing this? Or do you want to stay in South Florida? What's the next step after this initial investment?
So like, you know what Biden came out last night. He's mandating this vaccine January 4th, forcing companies to do it. Because the vaccine is a tax.
How so?
Well, the vaccine is a tax on businesses. It's a tax on freedoms. It's the government saying, hey, if you don't have some money, we're going to bang you up. Because they ain't going to vaccinate me and my kids.
Preach.
I got enough money. I'm like, fuck you guys. You want to vaccinate me? I got a vaccination for you right there. Like, you ain't poking my kids. You're not poking me because I got enough money to pay your fucking fines forever. Now, number one. Number two, they're not going to fine me because I'm not going to break the law because I got too many different ways where I can not break the law, where I can just twist the law, right? And they can't enforce this thing. The reason I say the vaccine is a tax is because those of you who are scared to lose your job are going to go get vaxxed, okay? They're threatening you with your job, your income. And they're taking away your freedom, say, we'll pay you, we'll give you a hamburger, we'll give you tickets, we'll give you weed. And if that don't work, we're going to penalize you. Yeah. But rich people are like, okay, whatever. So you guys need to get rich, man. Number one, everybody I'm watching right now, y'all need to decide I'm going to get my money. Number one, 3 things you got to know about money. And the same 3 rules hold true for attention. Number one, you got to get it. You don't need to make it. It's already been made. There's trillions and trillions of dollars. There's more money on this planet than there are iPhones. Okay. Endless supply. Okay. It's garbage, by the way. You need to understand it's garbage. Once I get it, the thing to do is once I get it, now I don't want to lose it. How do I not lose it? I take it and I convert it to something more valuable than money. So as fast as I can, I'm going to take this cash that I earned. I don't spend it ever. Never spend this money. No matter how big the bag is, I take the entire earned bag and I dump it into something that will produce passive income for me. The only thing I ever spend is the $100 that comes out of the building, not the bag that I earned because of my talent. I take my talents, I get paid for them, I shift it into the building, the money goes away. Money can't be lost now. It's been converted to concrete, glass, steel, tenants, leases, real property, okay? It goes up in value over time. This gets destroyed over time. It can get burnt, it can get torn, it can get lost, it can get stolen. So I want to get rid of this illiquid. I want to get illiquid in the building, convert it to something real, and then I want to wait. When I get paid passive income, this passive income is not taxed. It's only taxed, it's taxed up a small, tiny percentage of what earned income is. So I keep most of it. And this is how I live. I live off of this money. And I could spend all of this, or I could take this and start investing in more buildings.
The way you talk
So
to me.
get it, keep it. Number two, you got to keep it. How do I keep it? I don't save it at the bank. When you put it at the bank is going to tax it. Cash is taxed. Yeah. All cash is taxed. Okay. Cash is not king. Cash flow is king. So what you want is you want this. You want passive income. And the third thing you want to do is you want to figure out how it can multiply. That building will multiply over time. There's nobody that's going to tell me that building will not be more money. Right location, like the cities we're buying in, Austin, Houston, Dallas, Orlando, Tampa, the Carolinas, Nashville, Tennessee, Atlanta, Georgia, freaking on fire, Savannah, Georgia, anything in the smiley part of the United States where New York, when they came out last night and said, hey, we're mandating, I got calls from 3 buddies. I'm fucking done with New York. I thought they were going to change. They're not. New York is going to feed that building. 20% of our tenants right now are from New York City. 10% are from California, moving from LA all the way over to Miami. So people are tired of the bullshit, man. And when they're tired of that, what they do is they move. And when they move, they rent first. They don't buy first.
I think that's such a gem, being able to combine politics in a very layman's terms to see that, something's going on that at least half the country doesn't agree with. We can make money off of that. Like, I think that's been a thing for our community, especially people that are just coming into money. We think that we have to agree with everything in order to make money off of it. And that's clearly not the case. And you're doing a great example of showing everybody that.
Yeah, well, look, I made it. I happen to figure out how to squirt through the system and make it. I've made it my way. I'm a loudmouth guy. I say what I want. I've never conformed. I've never really fit in. I'm a white guy, but I was never treated like that. I was an outcast in my community. And most of my friends were black and brown. And so I really gel. I understand marginalized. I understand the establishment, and I know about the entitlement thing. It's real. I get in rooms you don't get in. And if I was black, I still wouldn't be able to get in those rooms, even with my money. So my dad died when I was 10 years old, man. I got a chip on my shoulder about it. Everybody treated us like we were leftovers. And I've been fighting since I was 15 years old to fucking get myself in a position. The helicopters, the jet, all that shit is like, hey, fucking, I'm here. I ain't going away. I'm using Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube. I'm using it. You guys don't even understand what I'm doing. I'm talking about Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Bank of America, Wells Fargo. These people are like, bro, what the hell are you doing? They all watching what I'm doing, because that asset right there, the only other group that can buy that is an insurance company, MetLife, New York Life, Blackstone, Vanguard. These are the biggest companies in the world, and I'm buying their shit. I'm buying the stuff that they took for granted and democratizing it with my audience. And I got these guys calling me right now and say, man, what are you doing, man? Hey, I got my rich friends saying, hey, man, don't give that to the little guy. Give that $5 million to me. I want to put $5 million in that deal. I'm like, okay, we'll put your money in. So we launched this fund. This is basically called a Reg A fund. Reg A means for non-accredited everyday investors. We launched it this past weekend. We've had almost 10,000 people put money into this deal already. Almost $42 million came in, 1,000, 2,500, 5,000, 6,500, 26,000. Like people that got a little bit of money, the money's sitting in the bank and they're like, I don't want it there anymore. And just to all the marginalized communities out there, until you guys quit feeding the beast, you keep doing the same, you're funding the bullshit. I was with a brother last night on a Clubhouse, right? And he's like, he was explaining to people about IRAs and 401ks. And I'm like, bro, you just feeding the beast, bro. When they start using acronyms, they fucking you, man. Like the real estate investment trust. When they start using all these little letters, IRS, FDA, CDC, 401k, makes it sound all freaking special and important. It's bullshit. Take this bullshit, convert it to something real, own as much of the community as you can. If you could own the whole block, you're better than owning one building. I'm trying to buy this whole block right now. And then you can start making the laws. The people that make the laws are the people that own the real estate. Politicians don't make the laws. They listen to people that own the real estate and pay the taxes.
Man, I promise if I was 61 and white, we would be twin brothers. Like everything you just said is what I just told my group chat yesterday. Literally everything you just said. It's we keep repeating the same actions and expect a different result. It doesn't matter who you vote for. It all comes down to the money. The money drives decisions. Like I don't understand why this is such a difficult concept for people. I don't get it. Maybe you do, but can you explain why that's a difficult concept?
Yeah, because the reason it's a difficult concept is because, look, if you look at this country, there are 330 million people in this country. We're actually not divided. That's the other thing. Oh, we all divided. Everybody's divided. Everybody's against everybody. No, that's not true. Everybody's brainwashed in this country. Everybody's miseducated. Most everybody in the country is doing the same bullshit. One sounds like a redneck. The other sounds like a rapper. One votes Democrat, the other votes Republican. One of them doesn't vote at all. But the truth is, most of you guys are all doing the same bullshit over and over and over again. You trade time for money and take the money and give it to a white bank. Even the black banks are white.
Yep.
Like I was at a real estate, it was a real estate meeting for just finance guys. It's just the guys where you get money from. There wasn't a brown face in the room, man. The games don't stack, guys. Now, look, I'm not, you getting upset about it ain't going to change anything. Okay. How do you get to those meetings? You go to those meetings with me. I can't tell you how important it is. You got to figure out how to walk in that room with the right people. If I wanted to crack into the rapper game, I need to get Kanye or Hove to bring me to the party. Yeah. Like you got to use the people you need to get in the rooms you need to be in. And so we are not all different. Most of us are making the same mistakes every day. We're trained to buy a house. We're trained to get a good credit score. Wealthy people don't give a fuck about their credit score. What the hell you need a number for, man? Oh, man, you need to be an 820. You need to be a 740. Higher education, total bullshit. Complete scam. $1.8 trillion of debt. They're probably going to relieve it on everybody, by the way.
Yep.
So what they do is they give it to you. Then they threaten you with it. And then they say, no, we're going to relieve you of it, like they did you some fucking favor so that you can vote for them. Okay? So they lend you money for a house. They make it easy for you to buy a house because it makes you a slave in one address. And then they tell you it's an American dream. That ain't a dream, man. That comes with a roof. That dream comes with a roof that leaks, paint that goes bad. And you're fixed in one location. If that location doesn't do any well, and you've got 27 years left on your mortgage when you ought to be moving to Florida right now. So politicians love people that buy houses because you're stuck. And the IRAs, the 401ks, what do? You save your money. You take your money and you put it with the man. And you're like, I see the money back. I see the money in 37 years. And what do they do with it for 37 years? They work that money, man. So we've been miseducated. We're not stupid. People are not stupid. But you got to wake up. You got to be willing to confront the reality of the situation, that it's a casino. And when you walk in that casino, you need to be extremely disciplined, find the best table for you, and you need to play big because they ain't worried about little players.
Yep.
Those casinos, the only players they worry about are the whales. They don't worry about the little $25, $15, $10, $5 bets. You guys say, I'm going to go in there. I'm just going to bet $5. I'm going to be good. That's how they built that place, on $5 bets.
Yep. That's facts. Because every time that we go to Vegas, my homeboy who spends the most or gambles the most, he got us in the biggest suite. We get this free and that free, and that's just a microcosm for society. So
exactly, totally, exactly identical. Like when we borrowed $200 million on this loan, my interest rates are like 2 and 3 points lower than yours.
God damn.
Okay. My legal fees are a fraction of what yours are. The upside, which is the most important thing. When this thing appreciates, when it goes up in value, man, it goes up so fast, it's like a rocket ship.
Crazy. You made waves last year because I really like your tax code strategy and how you really try to find a way to make sure that you keep your money, keep it working for you. And you made waves. I think it was last year, 2 years ago, when you bought that private jet at the end of the year. So we're at the end of the year now. What is up your sleeve this year for the tax break? You about to buy Disney World? Like, what's up?
No, good. That's a great question. Okay, this is a great question. Every year I do my best. The biggest expense every household in America has. By the way, I just want to say you do an awesome interview, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
You have almost the perfect kind of balance between being the host. You know, like a lot of time guys just like they ask a question and then you just do a great job, man.
That means a lot. Thank you.
Yeah, and I know interviews are not the easiest thing in the world to do. So particularly with a guy like me that's got a lot to say. So every year, actually every quarter, I'm looking at my taxes. The number one expense in a household is taxes. It is not rent, it is taxes. And Uncle Sam, he got nothing to do with my life. If I never pay him another penny, I'll be perfectly happy. And I do everything I can not to pay him anything. Now, I do pay taxes at the local, on a local, like last year we paid, or going forward next year, let me just see here, $80 million in property taxes. Okay. I don't mind paying the property taxes. Why? Because it supports the community. So I'm doing my part. Nobody's going to say I'm not doing my part. I have about 700 employees that I pay employment taxes for, okay, that I match 6.5% on their incomes. So I'm doing my part. Now, on the federal government, I ain't paying those people anything, bro. They ain't fixed a bridge, a highway, or a school, a church. They worried about that vaccine, though. We fucking figured out how to poke everybody, but we can't figure out how to feed everybody. So I'm not giving them money, man. I am not going to fund. I would not give money to my brother-in-law if he's a drunk or an alcoholic or drug addict. I ain't giving him money. And I'm not giving money to the federal government that has, for 50 years, Democrats and Republicans have completely acted like they're drug addicts, making bad decisions with money. So this year, I just sold that plane right there that you were talking about. That's the plane I bought in 17, 18. And I got a new one coming. Elena, let me call you right back. I'm in a great interview. I'll call you right back. All right.
Okay.
She's in Mexico working. So I got a Gulfstream 650 coming.
Oh, wow.
Brand new plane, man. And so I'm gonna bang these people here one more time. You know, the crazy thing about a jet is you get to write it off when you buy it.
The whole thing.
The whole thing.
What about throughout
See
the
that
year?
building right there?
Yeah.
That building, when I buy that building, the investors will get $100 million write-off when we purchase the building. Real assets come with a thing called depreciation, as you know.
Yep.
The jet, I get to write off the whole thing because it's a business jet. It's completely ridiculous, by the way. I mean, the whole thing's just, it's a rigged game, man. You know, so if you went into a casino and knew that, you know, at 11:15 at night they were throwing 21s, everybody at the table got a blackjack, then you'd probably be smart to go to that table.
Yep.
And all I've done is figure out every year in December, every quarter of the year, really, if I can shut down a building like that, I get to write off a portion of that building, even if I only own it for 10 days of December. The last 10 days of the month. If I own that building for the last 10 days of the month, me and my partners get a shared piece of the depreciation of that building. That's not over 27 years like a house, but I can accelerate the depreciation and take a portion of it in the first 10 days I own it.
So let me get this straight. You're offering your audience, and now my audience, and anybody who's interested, in $100 million tax break, and they can get in right now for $1,000.
So let me just be sure. 260. The deal is $260 million. I'm going to put $80 million down. I know for sure the tax break the first year is going to be $40 million.
Man.
And then I'll probably pick up $40 million the next year and maybe 20 the third year. And then it'll go back to 27 years of depreciation. So probably 40% of whatever check you give me, you're going to see pass back to you as a write-off. It's a little complicated because most people don't deal with this. It's very simple, actually. But because it's a real asset, you can't do this with a house. Just let me say this about the house. Houses are not assets.
No, they're not.
They're liabilities. And you've been told they're assets because somebody was misinformed, probably an uncle, maybe a dad. Could have been a teacher, by the way. Could have even been your financial planner. But a house is not an asset. A house is a liability for you and your family because you have to make the payments to it. This thing will make you payments. You're literally being paid to wait. You're being paid to get a tax break. You're being paid to wait for appreciation, and you're being paid to protect your cash against inflation that we all know is coming.
Yeah. So how can people sign up? Is there a website or what's the process?
Yeah, go to CardoneCapital.com, CardoneCapital.com. It's very easy to get to the website. You log in, create an account, and then you pick. I want to do $1,000, $5,000, $10,000. Very, very simple process. 8,000 people did it in the last couple of days. We had 5,000 investors before this. We're almost at 15,000 investors.
That's awesome,
since I
man.
opened it up to every person. And the last, let me just tell you my play, okay? Because your audience is going to be suspect of a white man. And you should be, by the way.
Yep.
You should be. Fucking, goddamn, if you ain't now, like, what's it take? Okay, let me explain to everybody because I'm very transparent about what my game is. We own 12,000 apartments right now and our average rent's about $2,000 a month. So do the math on that, and then you'll see how I buy the plane. So we got 12,000 units. I also have another business on the other side of this office that I'm in right now. We do about $10 million a month in internet sales every month, about 500 grand a day, 300 to 500,000 every day. You guys have seen my ads. If you haven't, just go to grantcardone.com, click on my website one time. I'll follow you all over the internet until you buy something from me. You go to Macy's, I'm gonna be like, what's up? Okay. You go to freaking Neiman Marcus, bang, I'll be there. Okay. You go to Uber Eats. Hey man, get the millionaire booklet. Okay. No matter where you go on the internet, man, I'm gonna find you. Okay. You go to a porn site 1:30 in the morning, I'm gonna be like, don't do it. And so I got about 15 million people that follow me on social media. And a lot of those people, you know, maybe 5% of those people every year buy a product from me. That's 750,000 people buy something from me every year. My play is I take that money from that business and I convert it to real assets so I avoid taxes, or at least put the taxes off. I put the money in there and let the portfolio grow. I'm at $4 billion worth of real estate right now. My goal is to get 10 million people. I'm just going to tell everybody, I'm sharing with you guys my goal. 10 million people are going to give me $5,000 over the next 3 to 5 years to invest for them. That's $50 billion. So you guys that are worried about your $5,000, I'm not here for your $5,000. I'm here for that 50 billion in cash from my friends, from the people that follow me, from people that don't look like me or do look like me, but people that came up just like me and that want a break, that need an investment, that want something good to put their money in, not some scam that you've been in this game long enough, man. If you're 17 years old, your parents are in it, your grandparents were in it, and they didn't get ahead. So I'm going to take that 50 million, Dorian. I'm going to take that and I'm going to buy 4 times the real estate with it. I'm going to buy $200 billion worth of real estate and I'll become a major player in America. I won't become a big player, major player. I could become a bank like this. I could compete with the Wells Fargos and the Bank of America. When I take this $200 billion worth of assets, if it's the same size as this building, me and my partners will buy 1,000 buildings just like that. Atlanta, Miami, Orlando, Tampa, Houston, Dallas, Austin. I'll be a major player and so will my investors. Okay. At that point, maybe I run for president of the United States, me and you on the same ticket, man.
I'm down, brother, on everything.
Dude, you're gonna be my ambassador for the lyrics. You're gonna be my lyrical ambassador.
Hell no. So you and I are very similar. You know, I listen to people, money talks, bullshit walks. And there's going to be people from my hometown, Indianapolis, they watch this whole interview. They can be like, man, what does he know? What's he worth? I went to Google, looked up your net worth. You know it might not be accurate, but they said 300 million.
No.
Can we set the table straight? What's your net worth?
That's stupid. So when I did Undercover Billionaire, I did Undercover Billionaire right before COVID happened. And they called me up January 2020. The Discovery Channel called and said, hey, you want to do this show Undercover Billionaire? This is our 2nd season. We like you. We think you'd be great at it. Could you do it? I said, what's the show again? Tell me the show. I knew what it was. I just needed them to talk a little bit, you know? Mm-hmm. Makes them feel good. So they're like, well, we give you $100. We basically give you $100. We drop you off in a town and you got to build $1 million business, but you can't use your name. I said, well, bro, what town is it? We're not going to tell you the town. But I said, there's not a town I can go to and I'm not going to be recognized. And they're like, oh, you so famous. I said, whatever, fuck you. Like, how'd you guys hear about me? YouTube. I said, well, how the fuck you think everybody else knows me? Okay. They said, what do you mean? I said, well, let's have lunch. So I flew to LA, had lunch with these guys. I'm sitting at a restaurant with them. I'm like, guys, how are we going to do this show and I'm not going to get recognized? And they're like, oh, you so famous. I said, bro, listen to me. Somebody's going to recognize me in these towns. Literally 3 minutes later, this guy walks in. Uncle G, what you doing, man? Okay. 4 minutes later. Oh my God. And they're like, how often does that happen to you? I said, bro, it happens every day, man. And I hadn't had a TV show yet. So I said, look, you can keep your $100. I don't need it. Okay. Here's the problem I have with this show. I can do it for sure. I could build $1 million business in 90 days with my hands tied behind my back. You could blindfold me, shave my fucking head. I'll never call one of my friends. I don't need a credit card. I don't need anything. I said, but I got one problem. I'm not a billionaire yet. So how are we going to call it Undercover Billionaire? Okay, this is before COVID. This is 2 years ago. I said, I'm fucking close, but I ain't there yet. They're like, no, man, we ain't changing the name of the show. Nobody gives a shit whether you are or you aren't. I said, yeah, but I do.
Yeah.
I'm not going to call myself something I'm not yet. Okay, and that was 2 years ago. Okay, to answer the question, and nobody's asked me this straight up, I'm over that number right now by a couple of hundred. I'm over by what they say I'm worth on the internet.
So 1.3 billion. That's fucking amazing. And you started off when you were
With
growing
nothing.
up. Nothing.
No dad, no connections, bro. No, I'm not a tech guy. I've never borrowed any money to start any of my businesses. Dude, it's been knocking on doors, pushing doors down. And I've never forgot where I came from. You can hear when I talk. I talk like this at meetings. I go to a meeting with these big banks. I was at a big meeting in New York City. They had 7 people on their side. It was me and my guy that was carrying my bag on my side. They said, well, where's your people? I said, this is my people. They thought I was coming with lawyers and accountants. I said, I don't need all those people, man. That scares them. They're like, shit, man. So sometimes the way to level the playing field is not to bring more people. It's to bring less. But you gotta bring your results. Your bio is your results. Your bio is nobody gives a shit about your story until you've done something. And one of the things I'm proud of is that people can go from never investing in anything to their first investment being on their bio. I'm a partner with Grant Cardone. And if people don't know my name yet, they're going to know my name. And if people don't know my track record, all you got to do is go to CardoneCapital.com. You'll see 32 properties like that I bought with my money, bought with my credit, and shared with my friends, family, and followers on mediums like yours.
That's awesome, man. Well, I appreciate you coming in, man, dropping all this knowledge on us and giving everybody the opportunity at CardoneCapital.com. This is really, really good, man. 0 to 1.3 billion. I don't think there's a better headline than that. Keep it real.
And look, let me just say that the net worth thing, it doesn't really mean anything. None of this stuff means anything. The planes, the helicopters, all that stuff's cool. What really matters is helping people. Mm-hmm. And even more important than helping people is changing the game. If I can figure out how to democratize Wall Street, if I can put them on warning and say, hey, there's a different way. There's plenty of people out there. You guys understand there's 250 million people in the middle class in America. 250 million people that want to do better. That becomes my audience. They always say, man, you want to get rich, solve a problem. This is a big problem. Now, I just got to get enough people to trust me and trust you. And it's pretty easy when you can see the building. I mean, if you guys want to go Google search the building online outside of Cardone Capital, just go to LOS, L-O-S, OLAS, O-L-A-S. You can't fake real estate. It's got an address. It's got real tenants. You can Google satellite it. You can go visit it. You can go live in it. I'm going to have tenants in the building are going to become investors.
Yep. Awesome. So I'm definitely about to invest. I'm definitely going to try to get my audience.
How much you going to do, Dorian? How much? Let me see what am I putting you down for?
Man, I'm going to give you two G's, man. I'm going to give you 2,000.
Let's go, man.
2,000.
Let's go.
For sure.
I'm gonna have somebody walk you through the paperwork when we get done. All right.
Okay. Cool, man.
Next time you see that money, I guarantee between me and you, it's gonna be 4 for sure.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna have you come back on here, and I'm gonna show the receipts.
Yeah. If I do my job, I'll make it 6.
Cool. Perfect. That works for me. So appreciate it, man. Thanks for everything.
Thank you, my friend. Appreciate you. All right. God bless you.
All right. Now have a good one.
Group